Let me describe a couple and tell me if this feels familiar. It's early 2026. They're both working professionals. She runs projects at a healthcare company about $68,000. He's in IT support around $78,000. Together, they're at roughly $146,000. On paper, that sounds like winning. For context, the U.S. median household income in 2024 was about $83,730. So this couple is nowhere near poor. They're above the middle, and yet they don't feel safe. They feel tight. They're not buying yachts. They're not doing dumb stuff. They're just living in a world where normal life has gotten expensive in the exact places you can't ignore. At the end of most months, there's no oxygen in the budget. If the car needs new tires, it's a credit card moment. If the HVAC goes, it's a credit card moment. If a medical bill hits at the wrong time, it's a credit card moment. And here's the part that messes with your head. They did what they were told. Degrees, careers, marriage, responsible choices. But it still feels like they're running uphill. If you've ever looked at your household income and thought, we make too much money to feel this broke, this will make a lot of things click. Because what you're feeling isn't just budgeting. It's a trap. We were sold a simple story. 2 incomes are better than 1. It sounds like basic addition. If 1 income can run a household, 2 incomes should mean security plus savings. Except the extra money often doesn't show up. Instead, the baseline expands and swallows it. That's the 2 income trap. And before someone tries to twist this, the problem isn't women working. That take is lazy and wrong. Women working didn't break America. Markets adapting to new household reality is what changes the game. Here's the core mechanism in one sentence. When 2 incomes become the norm, the market starts pricing normal life as if you have 2 incomes. So the second paycheck stops being margin. It becomes the price of admission. And in 2026, the math is sharper because financing is still expensive. Mortgage rates are hovering around the 6% range. That one number turns a normal house into a monthly payment that needs 2 paychecks. So what do people do? They build their life around the combined gross number. They qualify for the mortgage because 2 incomes look strong. They take the second car because the commutes don't line up. They pay for childcare because both jobs are non-negotiable. They stack subscriptions, insurance premiums, and minimum payments. And now the second income isn't extra. It's the second engine keeping the plane in the air. That's why 2 incomes can feel worse than 1, because they can push you into a life that requires 2 incomes to survive. If you want one statistic that captures the fragility, the $400 test. In the Federal Reserve's household survey, 63% of adults said they would cover a $400 emergency expense completely with cash or its equivalent. That means 37% wouldn't. That's millions of people one small shock away from borrowing, often including people who should be doing fine. Now let's talk about where the second paycheck actually goes. Most people imagine the second income like this. Great, another $50,000 or $70,000 we can save. But the real version is a 4-part shredder. 1. Taxes and payroll taxes. There isn't a special second income tax. It's stacking. The second paycheck sits on top of the first, so more of it gets hit at your household's marginal rates. Then, payroll taxes. Then, depending on your situation, you can lose eligibility for certain credits or assistance as income rises. So the second paycheck is already smaller than it looks. 2. Childcare. If you have kids and both adults work, childcare becomes a bill you can't dodge. Childcare isn't a nice to have. It's the thing that makes the second income possible. In 2024, the national average price estimate was about $13,128. And that's an average. Many areas are far higher. 2 kids can turn childcare into a second rent payment. 3. Work logistics. 2 commutes, gas, maintenance, parking, extra wear on cars. Sometimes a second vehicle becomes mandatory because schedules don't match and transit isn't realistic. Even if you never upgrade your lifestyle, the lifestyle of 2 working adults has built-in costs. 4. Exhaustion spending. When both adults are maxed out, you start buying time. Delivery instead of cooking. Convenience instead of planning. Paid help instead of weekends burned on chores. It's not weakness. It's physics. Time and energy are finite. So the honest question isn't, what is the second paycheck? The honest question is, what is the .net value of the second paycheck after the cost required to earn it? Sometimes it's a strong net positive. Sometimes it's smaller than people want to admit. And in high-cost setups, multiple kids, long commutes, high housing payments, it can get uncomfortably close to zero. And here's the psychological trap. You make decisions based on the gross number. The bank doesn't qualify you on net after childcare and commute. It qualifies you on gross. So you buy the house, gross can support. You finance the cars, gross can support. You lock in fixed costs that assume both incomes keep flowing forever. Now you're running at 95% capacity. Everything works until it doesn't. A layoff, a health issue, burnout, an aging parent who suddenly needs help, a child who needs more support than you expected. In those moments, you don't lose extra. You lose a pillar. This is why the two-income trap feels like drowning. It's not about income. It's about margin. And margin is the thing modern households are starved of. There's also a second engine that keeps the trap running, the bidding war. When more households can bid with two incomes, prices in good areas get bid up. And because school opportunity in the US often correlates with neighborhood housing cost, families stretch for the zip code. You're not paying tuition. You're paying it in your mortgage. One more 2026 reality. Dual income households with kids are not some rare exception. They're the standard in many places. So the system doesn't treat two incomes as a bonus anymore. It treats it as the baseline expectation. So what do? Not the fantasy answer, just earn more. If earning more was the fix, $146,000 would feel like freedom. For a lot of households in 2026, it doesn't. The real fix is boring. And boring works build margin on purpose. I call it a one income foundation. That does not mean one partner quits tomorrow. It means you design your fixed costs so that if you had to, one income could keep the lights on. Not comfortable, survivable. Here's the test. If one paycheck vanished tomorrow, how long until your life breaks? 2 weeks? 1 month? 3 months? If that question scares you, good. That's not shame. That's data. Then you solve the problem in the right order. Step 1. Shrink the big fixed blocks. Housing, cars, insurance, minimum debt payments, childcare strategy, not latte math, the big blocks. Step 2. Automate margin. If money sits in checking, life will eat it. So you move it out automatically. Emergency fund first, then retirement, then investing. Step 3. Treat the second income like power, not baseline. It's the thing that buys you options, time, health, flexibility, and resilience. Because options are the real definition of wealth, not the size of your paycheck. The ability to absorb a hit without your whole life collapsing? Yes, there are benefits to two incomes. Career capital, retirement matches, sometimes better health insurance access. All real. But none of those benefits matter if your fixed costs are sized so aggressively that one disruption wipes you out. So here's the rule for 2026. Build your life so one income can survive. Use the second income to build margin and buy choices. That's how you beat the two-income trap. Because two incomes aren't better than one if both of them are already spent before they arrive. Here's a practical way to start this week. Open a blank note and list your true fixed costs: housing, minimum debt payments, insurance, childcare, and transportation. If you can't name them from memory, that's the point you're driving in fog. Then do a one income draft budget on paper, not to punish yourself, to see the gap. Next, separate money into 3 simple buckets. 1, bills you must pay, margin you protect, everything else. If you want the trap to lose its grip, you protect bucket #2 first. Even small progress changes the feeling in your chest, because margin is what turns panic into a plan. And if you're thinking, we can't do that, we need both incomes, that's exactly the diagnosis. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is reclaiming choices one fixed cost at a time.